Many times people see individuals who have accumulated a certain level of lifestyle and have achieved financial emancipation and consider it to have been luck. But it's very much unlikely to have been luck. And so we're going to have a look at what could be the contributing factors to some of these individuals achieving the milestone that they have accomplished, and how you might also be able to implement strategies that will help you to do the same. Welcome back to Ira Living. In today's video, we're going to be exploring 7 key Bible verses that I have implemented in my life to help me on my journey to financial emancipation. And they are also things that you could also implement. Now, several times we see lots of different ideologies and stories that are played out in our society in order to help people to acquire wealth. And oftentimes, those are things that when you examine them closely, you'll realize that they're ideas and principles that have been taken from the Bible, although they have now been far removed from it in terms of the way in which people choose to implement it. And you might ask yourself, so why is it working if these are people who are not living according to biblical principles? And the fundamental to that is that principles work where you apply principles. Not all principles are tied to your moral integrity or your uprightness. Many of it is simply about you understanding what the principles are and understanding how best to apply those principles so that they can work for you in that regard. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the Bible verses that have been transformational in my life in helping me to understand that there is a pathway to financial emancipation, and also how to travel that pathway so that I can achieve that result. The first one I'm going to share with you is one that gives me the underlying understanding of knowing that my existence was intentional. And this Bible verse is Jeremiah 1 verse 5. It says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctify thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nation." Now, this Bible text was addressed specifically and directly to Jeremiah. However, it gives me the understanding of knowing that even before we were born, our Creator, the Most High, knew exactly what He was creating us for. And He did that intentionally. And therefore, with that understanding, I start to understand how valuable, significant, and important an individual I must be, that I was created intentionally, which means I'm created for purpose, to fulfill destiny. And therefore, that gives me an idea of understanding that there is a pathway that I need to follow, and I need to understand how to take that path to achieve success and prosperity in the process. The second Bible verse compounds my belief from what I read in the first one, and this is Jeremiah 29 verse 11. And what it is highlighting is talking about the fact that I was not just created intentionally, but I was created for a purpose, and there is a plan for me. "For I know the thoughts I have towards you, say Yah, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." So therefore, I understand that there is a purpose and a destiny on my life, and I need to get more knowledge and more insight about how to ensure that I fulfill this purpose and this destiny so that I can get to that expected end that I've been told of. The next few verses that I'm going to be sharing with you are the things that gives me more insight in understanding how I can achieve that expected end. And the first one, the principle that it teaches me, is that there is benefit in being obedient, or obedience comes with a reward. The Bible verse that works keenly here is Isaiah 1 verse 19. "If he be willing and obedient, he shall eat of the good of the land." So therefore, this is an indication to me that my obedience to follow the precepts, the principles, and the ordinances of Yah has positive contribution to my development, and not doing so will therefore have negative consequences. And so the next area that I also wanted to look at as a principle in my life is my area of priority, because whatever we don't prioritize is something that will constantly be pushed down the list of things that we want to get done or to integrate in our lives. And therefore, prioritizing is paramount in making something absolutely important in your everyday living. And Matthew 6 verse 33 says that, "Seek ye first the kingdom of Yah and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." So whatever you are pursuing, whatever you're seeking to aspire to, if you make your priority the kingdom of Yah, then all the other things that are concerning you will work together for that expected end to be achieved and to be realized. And exploring this in a little bit more detail brings me to the other principle of my allegiance. Where is your allegiance? Because that's going to be important. And in the same Matthew 6, verse 21, we see where that is, because it says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Whatever things that you value and treat as important, that's where your heart is going to be. That's where you're going to be drawn and where you're going to be attracted to. So if you seek first the kingdom, then you will learn all of the skills and the abilities that you need, the wisdom and the information that you need to garner in order to work out your expected ends accomplishment, to play your part in that process. Now, the next thing that I also understood was the fact that I was given dominion. And Deuteronomy 1 verse 8 helps me to understand what that dominion looks like. Now, dominion is not dominion over people, it's dominion over resources and how to manage those effectively. And Deuteronomy 1 verse 8 tells me clearly, it says, behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yah sware unto your fathers. This is also supported by Genesis, which informs us how to utilize the land. We need to be fruitful, we need to multiply, and we need to replenish the land. So that's how we have dominion over it, and understanding how to exercise this dominion in any sphere that we decide that we're going to embark upon. Many people will quote to you 1 Timothy 6 verse 10, where they will highlight to you that the love of money is the root of all evil. And that is indeed so. The love of it is the root of all evil. Money in and of itself is not evil. It's a tool that we use to acquire things that we need in a society that we're living in, where we have capitalistic environments. And even in times when people used to barter, they used to barter on the value of things that you have. And so in and of itself, it is not evil. What is evil is the love of it, because that drives people to doing all sorts of things just to acquire some. In Ecclesiastes 5 verse 19, it highlights that Yah is the one that gives the ability to gain wealth, because he gives the wisdom, the knowledge, and give people the ability in order to gain wealth. And it also says that it's a gift from him. Therefore, Yah does not oppose individual having wealth. He simply wants us to have the understanding of how to prioritize it, where it should be placed in terms of our treasures, that it should not be the thing that takes up our focus, but we also need to understand that with it comes responsibility. And part of that responsibility is the seventh principle that I'm going to share with you, which is honoring Yah with our substance. And the Bible verse that have taught me this principle is Proverbs 3 verse 9. But it would not be fair to not also include verse 10. Honor Yah with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. And verse 10 goes on to say what the benefits of this is. It says, so shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. Honoring Yah is about the character that we display, the lifestyle that we live. And by giving generously to our worship organization, giving generously to charitable organization and to people in need, as well as to ourselves. Because we are indeed the temple, so we also need to be generous to ourselves. So not only are we showcasing here that we need to honor Yah with whatever we have as part of our principles, but even so, honoring him also adds on to getting us to have more abundantly, so that we can experience an abundance life because we've honored him with what it is that we have. Now, there are several different things, laws of attraction, sowing of seed, and other ways in which society has tried to use principles that they want to showcase with people as to how they can build wealth. All of these things are based on things that have been extracted from the Bible, principles that they have taken from there and are utilizing. Now, these are only a few of the principles that I have learned from Bible verses that has impacted my financial emancipation journey. The next time somebody says to you they're just lucky, remind them that it is not luck, but it is about understanding biblical principles, understanding how to work them and how to work them in accordance with the kingdom of the Bible. And it would be a good measure for you to also understand how these principles can work to add to your advancement, your fulfillment, and you living a life of abundance whilst giving glory and honor to your creator and your maker. Remember, financial literacy is revolutionary. It has transformed my life, and I believe that it can do the same to yours.